Mike, great to hear from you. How are you today?
I'm okay. The sun's shining. I'm still erect, and I'm ready to go for a trip to New York for Christmas.
Oh, what are you doing in New York?
Whatever we want. We're going to shop and have a good meal, and then go to my mother-in-law's in Poughkeepsie for Christmas Day.
Oh,
Mike, you're a local celeb. Can you get a reservation at the corner store and tell me how it is? Because I've been trying every time I go to New York. No go.
No, I mean, there are a couple places there that are just impossible to get reservations to. And I've been trying to do – we go to this place called Il Tonello on Christmas Eve every year, and it's spectacular Italian restaurant. But, I was trying to do something a day before that, and I got shut out. So my celebrity status doesn't work there.
Oh. I saw this story yesterday about Marchand possibly, when he's done playing, going on TNT, doing the player to the booth media role. What do you think about Marchand's ability to be a interesting media member one day?
He's playing pretty well now. I think he should stay focused on that. And I don't know if he really wants to do the TNT thing, but he's got a pretty good sense of humor. He's pretty quick, and he might be pretty good at it, but they need him to be focused on what he's doing right now, which is going pretty good for him right now.
Mike, one of the things that we've kind of talked about, and it's good you bring up Brad Marchand, is like whether or not this team is a buyer or seller at the trade deadline. And it seems like Marchand still wants to play a few more years. And I know it's always a sticky situation on whether or not you figure out where you are as a team, and do you potentially move a guy like that, or do you say we want to keep him and re-sign him? If you're the GM of this team, what are you doing?
He's in a different category because he's been such a warrior for so long. It's like you're talking about, not quite in the Brady category, but you're talking about somebody who's been around and has been a leader and a winner for the team and the franchise for many years. So you need to consult with him. But does anybody that I'm talking to right now think that this Bruins team has a chance to win a Stanley Cup?
No.
I'd be surprised. And so they need changes, and their changes are really focused for me, and I've mentioned this before a couple of times, in the middle. They don't have enough ability in the center position to give anybody any kind of pause for them going deep into the playoffs. I mean, Elias Lindholm has got 4 goals now, and a fluky one he got in Calgary the other day, which is great, but he got his points when he was playing in Calgary with Matthew Tkachuk or Johnny Gaudreau. Look, when you're trying to evaluate a center, you have to evaluate who the guy is playing with, and he's got to be able to make other guys around him better. I think he was made better by the people that he played with, and that's what's been revealed. So the Bruins aren't going deep into the playoffs. It looks like they're in a season where the teams behind them are not really that threatening. The Rangers, I thought, were going to be a really good team, and aren't. Tampa Bay is still trying to figure out how to retool themselves, and there's a bunch of other, teams behind them that just don't seem to have it straight. So the Bruins look like they're going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to do any serious damage. And to answer your question, Wiggy, finally, I don't know what they do at that point. They have to have a conversation with Marchand if they really want to trade him, if they get something special. I think they should explore all avenues to get better in the long run, and not just for this season, because this season looks to me to be, okay. No, we're doing okay. I got to give them credit. They bounced back after the coaching change and have shown some spark and some fight, but I don't believe in them as a contender.
Well, Mike, you bring up needing help when it comes to center. Why not call up a guy like Matt Poitras, who 7 games straight for Providence scoring a goal?
That's a good question. I have no answer to that. I mean, he looked like he had some pop in his game when he was here originally, and then he got hurt in his first season, and then he couldn't find his rhythm. Now maybe it's time to give him a shot, because they really don't have much to lose by doing that. Either Poitras or anybody else who's in the minor leagues and seems to be on a hot streak. So it's a good point.
So Courtney has been on this from the beginning, and I think the longer Swayman goes this season with numbers that are far worse than what he had last year, the more the questions will raise about just how important a direct split with Linus was for his success. Where are you on Swayman today?
I think the contract negotiation was problematic for him. I don't think he handled it very well. I don't think the Bruins handled it very well. I think he's gotten off to a rough start and sometimes an unlucky start with a team that's trying to find its way. I think he's been better. I'm still a big believer in Swayman. I think he's at 25 or 6 or whatever he is now. He should be able to handle a 60 to 65 a season schedule. And if he can't, yikes.
Mike, when you continue to look at the power play and some of the struggles that they have, I guess when do they get into the position of, all right, maybe we change up kind of the scheme, what we're trying to do? Is there a way to be more aggressive on the power play when you want to change things up?
The offense usually relates to skilled players. They have, at least on the first unit, enough skilled players to get it done. And they have enough players in the second unit to be, basically okay. But I think a power play is best. And I actually think Joe Sacco said it. He wants them to be less predictable. And really what you want is for the whole thing to be free form. You move wherever you need to go in order to get open. Don't be predictable, but have a few concepts in mind. Like somebody should be in front of the net to screen the goaltender. Somebody should be near the slot, but it should be a constantly moving, free form formation so that you can't be categorized and static in one form or another and easy to defend. That's where skill comes in, and it comes in with movement, puck movement, and skating movement, and then an unpredictability that leads to some pretty good chances, I think. And that's when it's really fun. When power play is good, it's like there's no straight form that you're looking at. There's no ABC kind of rules that you follow. It's just completely unpredictable.
Mike, I'm sure you saw it, but Spit and Chicklets had Brett Hull on last week, and they told a story about how you made an Islanders team bag skate after a bad loss. They were joking about it. Is that just a completely different era when it comes to how coaches dealt with teams back then than we see now?
Yeah, no, today I'd have to, find them a bowl of ice cream or something after a bad loss.
Is that? Are we ever going back to the way it was, or is it just too far?
No, it's just. It's just going to be a solid memory for me.
So,
but it's really. And it's too bad. You should be able to hold people accountable in a firm way. I think that it worked, and people were, well, this.
Mm-hmm.
People were afraid of Bill Parcells and afraid of Belichick. Now there's no fear. It's just like, just stick a middle finger up to a guy that gives you a hard time.
So what do you think the issue is? Because we have this conversation all the time, whether it's in football, other sports, and we talked about it with Bruce Cassidy. Is it the fact that the organization, and when I say organization, like the GMs and the presidents, give the player too much power when it comes to maybe contract and money status for them to have that ability to kind of toot their finger up at the coach that is a little bit more aggressive and on their ass?
Yeah, it's a social thing, isn't it? It's a cultural thing across the planet, certainly across the USA, where when you can't spank a child, you can't yell at a kid in the classroom, you can't do something that would be construed as, corporal punishment of some kind or even verbal punishment of some kind. And the players making so much money do have power. It's shifted, and the I don't know how to figure this all out, Wiggy. I wish I could, but I liked it better when you walked in the room as a coach, and there was some gravitas there. There was some fear. There was some respect for the guy that was making the calls. And now it's just, well, he's just another guy in the room, and they'll fire him and we'll bring in a new guy. It's a different. You have to use your powers of persuasion rather than your powers as a guy that should be respected and responded to. It's just a different era, and why it came about, I don't know, but makes it much tougher for a coach.
Well, I remember when I played, and one thing that we always had was the in locker room policing. For us, it was a guy like Willie McGinnis, and
Watch out.
and the coach allowed that in locker room policing of guys that you respected, but you also feared. Was it like that as a player for you? And was it also like that as you as a coach, where you might have put guys in position of leadership that could lead by fear, where like, all right, this guy might punch me in the mouth if I don't fall in line?
Yeah, no, there certainly was a pecking order when I played, and I never as a coach would put somebody in that position, but you would find people to be in that position, and you'd sort of not curry favor with them, but encourage them to do what they did best, which is be a little bit of a strong arm guy. And I think when I played, when I first got into the league and I walked into the locker room and over in a corner was Orr and Esposito, I was like, I can't say anything to these people. I just have to, if they want me to tie their skates, I will. I mean, that was the response of somebody who was a rookie, and I wasn't the only one. And O'Reilly took over for them, and if he was pissed off, boy, he didn't want to get in his way, I'll tell you. And so it was an easy thing for the coach to manipulate, or not manipulate, but utilize as a tool. And then he had his own powers of persuasion, I guess. But those things it's a different ball game now, a totally different ball game, and it's a much more difficult ball game for the coach. So it's I don't envy their position, and their tools are fewer in the tool bag.
All right, Mike. Well, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thanks as always, and we'll talk to you after the holiday.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Thank you. That's
Talk
Mike.
to you in a couple of weeks.